Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review, number 130. And I am Virtue, being joined by this week's elite panel of NoDQ, other than myself, Aaron Rift, as always, Big G, and Robbie Weiss is back. What's up, everyone? Robbie, I'm going to start with you because I know you got things to do later tonight, so let's get this show on the road.
That's right. Yeah, good to be back. There's a lot of speculation flying around that apparently CM Punk, John Cena, The Rock, and every big name is all going to AEW this Sunday. So I'm sure we'll talk about all that stuff. But yeah, it was a pretty eventful week. We had some celebrity appearances on TV, and looking forward to a good show.
All right. Well, it's good to have you back, Robbie Weiss, the remarkable one. Roll the dice with Robbie Weiss. And now we got Big G over there, who's just happy to be here. He is just happy to be here, whether he agrees or disagrees.
I'm always glad to be on with you guys.
What's up?
Yeah, it was a great week in wrestling, and I'm ready to get this ball rolling.
All right, and over to Aaron Rift, South Park shirt.
Absolutely. I'm ready to go here and talk about this week in wrestling. We have a brand new WWE champion. Shaquille O'Neal competed in AEW. We're getting closer to Wrestlemania. We got AEW Revolution. Plenty of topics. I'm ready to go. Let's get this show going.
All right. Well, we're going to start with Robbie Weiss's favorite topic, AEW, because last night on Dynamite, Shaquille O'Neal wrestled in a match, intergender match. He had a couple little spots with Cody. The body slam thing didn't work that well. I'm sure it looked good on paper, but Shaq didn't do the posting technique, and he's pretty heavy. But I was impressed with the table bump. What I did not like about that whole thing is the girls setting the tables up, and one of the stagehands or somebody, I don't know who it was, had to help the second girl set. I call them second girls because I just have no interest in who they are. Setting these tables up, it took so long, forever. You knew something was going to happen with Shaq or Cody. I was a little surprised, however, that Shaq went through it and not Cody. But, at first, Shaq, as soon as he went through it, you saw him tapping Cody's back because that was probably a signal to say I'm okay. But then all of a sudden, he was out cold. So I do give Shaq props for selling it. But Robbie Weiss, what's your take on this? And while we're talking about Shaq, what's this big surprise going to be at Revolution?
Oh, it's probably going to be Ryback, and everyone's going to be pissed. The Shaq thing was neat, I guess. Like, it was Shaq. It was a celebrity. It was a major celebrity, NBA Hall of Famer, champion, giant man. And I'll tell you what, I would have been really excited for this match 15 years ago. It was fine. I mean, I thought the girls did fine. Cody did fine. Shaq did fine. But they really hyped this up. And outside of Shaq's awful, Shaquille O'Neal just has no excitement in his voice when he speaks. He's just, Cody, I'm going to beat you up this Sunday. And
he's always been that way, though.
I know he's always been that way, but it doesn't really translate to the world of professional wrestling. It took me a while to even get used to it on Inside the NBA, to be 100% honest with you. But, I mean, it was fine. Do I think it was worth all the hype? No. Do I think it's worth all the praise it's getting? No. But I didn't hate it. It wasn't bad. It was fine. It was a match that was on free TV. And, whatever. But, yeah, that big surprise, it's going to be Ryback or someone from Japan that I've never heard of, most likely. And then we're going to call it a day. I don't think we're going to be seeing Lesnar or CM Punk or some of these things people are predicting, but who knows? The last time Tony Khan made a statement like this and got everyone this hyped, it turned out to be Pac, which is, it's a great signing, but I mean, so we got to really temper our expectations here. When you don't really go from Pac with the same hype to John Cena or The Rock or any of these other giant names that I've seen in the hyperbole space of wrestling Twitter.
Robbie, I need, for me to be excited about this, I'd need a CM Punk, a Ronda Rousey, a Brock Lesnar. That's because now those are the type of stars, right? And you said offline here, no matter who shows up, AEW fans will support it, even if it's somebody like Enzo and Cass, who is very polarizing these days since their departure from WWE. They'll like whoever that is, correct?
Yeah, so
in your opinion?
Yeah, that fan base 100% is going to support and love whoever is there, just because and I know people are going to get upset when I say this, but I generally feel that the fans of AEW are fans of the promotion and not necessarily the individual stars, because I've seen a lot of backlash against stars that have gone to AEW and they start to get praised. So, I mean, and that's great for the promotion. You want people to be invested in you. But yeah, I think no matter who walks through that curtain that day, the fans are going to be absolutely ecstatic, and you're going to see them saying that this is the end of WWE. And again, it's the wrestling hyperbole space of Twitter. So be prepared.
If you had to guess one person, who would you pick?
I honestly think it's going to be someone like Ryback. I mean, Enzo and Cass, I would love to see something like that. Kurt Angle, it's hard to say who it could be, but if it's going to be an older person, I would say someone like a Kurt Angle, maybe someone that isn't maybe has one more match in him, but I don't know. But honestly, I'm going to say my pick. If we have to pick, it's going to be Ryback. That's my pick.
All righty, that would be interesting. All right, Big G. What do you think here about Shaquille O'Neal? Man, I'm telling you, remember Hack-a-Shaq back in the days? They would foul him because he couldn't shoot a free throw. There should have been some free throw reference in this match. But anyway, what do you think, Big G?
I mean, Shaq did good for, this is what his third wrestling appearance. Like, he had 2 in WWE. This is his first match, and I thought he did okay. I liked his little tribute to Brody Lee that he did with the power bomb. The body slam, like you mentioned, wasn't all that great, but it was still cool to see, Cody Rhodes body slamming Shaquille O'Neal, that table bump. I knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming. And when he jumped over that top rope, that was it. And then, Shaq was put in the ambulance, and then like a minute later, he wasn't in there. So, he got out. He was like, I don't need no ambulance. I'm Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, before the ambulance, they showed him laying on the ground for like hours. So, of course, he came to by the time they put him in the ambulance.
He sold that bump.
Yeah,
he might have been in a hearse.
But I like that. I commented on Twitter. I saw more selling out of Shaq than I do a lot of the wrestlers today.
And I figured the match was more based around Jade. She was the newcomer.
Yeah, they were trying to get the girls over.
They were trying to, exactly. And as far as like the surprise that'll be there on Sunday, I'm really hoping it could be Enzo and Cass, because I watched that promo that Enzo had posted a couple days before that event that they were at, and that man has still got it. And then Cass looking that that good in shape, and it looks like he's doing a lot better now. But I think they'll be like the mystery tag team, and it'll be just a one-off. But
we'll definitely talk about that more.
I'm gonna have to agree with Robbie. It'll probably be Ryback or somebody lame. So
lame. I don't know, Ryback. I might be into that because so many people hate him. All right, Aaron, over to you. There might have been a super chat. What do you think?
I enjoyed Shaq's match. I thought it was good, and I think Shaq did well considering his limitations. I thought Cody did a solid job of making Shaq look good. I liked the table spot. And Virtue, I did not mention this on my stream last night, what you said a few moments ago about the women trying to set up the tables on the outside. That felt like it took a while, and that did take me a little bit away from the match. Anthony says maybe Lars Sullivan is the surprise for the Revolution pay-per-view. I hope it's either somebody great who's really going to move numbers, or it's somebody that's going to piss everybody off. I don't want something in the middle, like a.
Does Christian have a WWE deal that we know of?
Apparently, he does.
I think he's still under contract.
Okay,
yeah.
Which would rule him out. But like one of those mid-level guys, it's going to be disappointing. Some people might like it. It'll be cool to see that person. But I either want to see a legitimate top-tier guy, or have it be somebody that everybody hates, like Ryback. And also, Tony Khan on AEW Restricted used the term "he" to describe this person, which I guess one would assume that it's a guy and not a woman. That would probably rule out Tessa Blanchard, and I'm not even sure she would live up to the expectations, anyways. But yeah, there's 4 people that I could think of that would really make a difference. You have CM Punk, John Cena, The Rock, and Brock Lesnar. One of those 4 people shows up, it's going to be a really big deal. But besides,
what about the UFC route, like Rousey or Conor McGregor?
Well, again, I don't think it's going to be Rousey. Conor McGregor would be interesting, I suppose, if he showed up. I guess that could happen because Big Show said Hall of Fame worthy, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the WWE Hall of Fame. So we'll see. It's got people talking, that's for sure.
Did you say that super chatter? I must have missed it.
Oh, yeah. Anthony sent in a $3 super chat, going off topic here a little bit, but we'll talk about this, I'm sure, at the end. He just said with $3, Lesnar versus Lashley versus McIntyre at WrestleMania. That is certainly something that people are talking about, but we'll bring that up in just
that will be the main event.
Thank you.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's going to be something like Mike Tyson because he had more business to do in AEW. So it's going to be something like that. Somebody we've already seen, or like a mid-level guy looking for a contract, and Tony Khan trying to make a big deal out of it. So that's what I think will happen. Now, let's go over to Enzo and Cass. Cass returned after his mental debacle from over a year ago. He returned to the Indies, and it was an event tied around Impact Wrestling. So that is very interesting. Yeah. Could these two show up on Impact? Aaron, excuse me, I'm all choked up because I really like these two. I think that they're going back to WWE eventually, but with considering the departure of Enzo, it's going to take a lot of probably talking and convincing to WWE management to make that happen. But they did pull a lot of merch there, and also the 205 Live division was centered around Enzo, and they were actually going to have some house show circuits. And all of a sudden, 205 Live disintegrated when Enzo left. Not saying that would, but those guys draw. So what's everyone's thoughts here, Big G? We've talked about these guys from time to time, but now we see them back in a ring. I think they should be a pair wherever they go, but Enzo could be like a manager, like the mouthpiece.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned before, that promo that Enzo posted on Instagram a couple of days ago before this event they were at, I mean, the man still got it. He can talk. I would prefer him as a manager, but if he and Cass, team up, like we mentioned, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan. I mean, wherever eventually they might go back to WWE, water under the bridge. But wherever they go together, like you mentioned, like I've mentioned before, the merch is sold. Enzo can cut a good promo. Cass can do pretty good in the ring. So can Enzo. So yeah, wherever they go.
Well, Enzo bumps pretty good, like a manager bumps. A lot of people didn't like Enzo's in-ring work, but
I had liked them since NXT when they first debuted together. So I've always been a big supporter of Enzo and Cass. So
I would love to see them back in WWE, even if that means bring them back into NXT, because that's kind of where they were super hot, right? Yeah. Robbie, Enzo and Cass. I know we've talked about it before on our other shows too. Anything to add here?
I don't think you'll see them in WWE anytime soon. I think if they can prove themselves to be reliable and professional in another company for a year or so, you could see that big comeback and you could see them get a little bit of a push. But outside of the mental issues that Cass has struggled with, I'm not going to make any jokes about that. But what I will say about Enzo is what you need to be successful in anything in life is respect and being humble, and you can't teach that. So
yeah, and Tito makes a great point.
Nicely said there.
WWE should never broke those two up.
Yeah,
I mean, it could have been the heat Enzo was getting backstage, but they were selling merch, popping crowds, and I mean, who does that now? Puff Daddy, not Puff Daddy, Scrap Dog. What's his name? Bad Bunny.
Adam Pearce.
Bad Bunny, yeah. I'd rather see Adam Pearce in Bad Bunny's spot. I'd rather see Adam Pearce in Bad Bunny's spot. Anyways, Aaron, your turn.
Okay, Ratnick said Enzo needs a live crowd. Very good point there. And Robbie mentioned this. It might take some time for these two to develop a good reputation on the indie scene before WWE considers picking them up again. We might not see them until we have fans, and that might be for the best. Maybe this is just the beginning of things to come. They build up their reputation, and maybe we'll see them later this year. But if they do show up at Revolution as the TBA tag team in that Battle Royal match, I'm going to give away a free NoDQ shirt. If you're following me on Twitter and you retweet, I will give away a free shirt if they show up. But my gut feeling is if they return to a big stage, they will appear in WWE maybe later this year. And I hope we do see them again. I hope they get things together and they stay solid as a unit and they can make this big comeback and have another good run in WWE. WWE could definitely use some star power in the tag division. That's for sure.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
true.
just look at the way 205 Live crumbled after, Enzo left. And I mean, nothing against those wrestlers and those fans who like matches like that. But Noah Foster, Enzo had that drawing power, and they were actually considering doing small house shows with him centered around that. And now 205 Live, poof, gone. All right, let's move on. WWE. Before we get to the huge topics of the week, right? New WWE champion and what this could lead to at WrestleMania. Let's talk a little bit about Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Yes, Aaron.
Psycho Jet Black on the topic of Enzo and Cass before we move away from that. He said, Enzo and Cass are more entertaining than Retribution.
So is the logo.
I mean, I think
paint drying on the wall is more entertaining
than Retribution. Let's be real here.
So we know that Edge is going to face Roman at WrestleMania. Spear versus spear. But before that, why do I hear myself talking? Big G. Anyway, Roman Reigns looks like he might be having this little pre-WrestleMania feud against Daniel Bryan. Now, this is contingent on if Daniel Bryan wins the match, right, Aaron? Then he'll face Roman at Fastlane. Now, if you remember, Roman and Bryan had a great match. I think it was a Fastlane or one of those pay-per-views several years ago. And Meltzer kept reporting this was going to be a big feud about a year and a half ago. It never happened. And Bryan's in that mode of, I guess he's just content not main eventing, but just having good matches with people and just putting people over. So I'm kind of pumped for this because normally the road to WrestleMania is like blah for the main eventers, other than the hype with the promos. And Reigns is going to win, but because Daniel Bryan's involved, you get excited. You get interest. I mean, I don't know. When you know the outcome, then you want the quality of the match to be really good. And this is the right move, I think, if they do this. Robbie, what do you think? Should they save this for a Roman Reigns feud for the title for SummerSlam? Because it's just like Daniel Bryan's in this throwaway feud.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think they should save it because if they're going to do something right now, look, if Daniel Bryan loses at SummerSlam, to me, that seems like a bigger deal than Daniel Bryan losing at Fastlane. No one's going to remember the pay-per-view in a few months. It'll be entertaining. It'll get people talking. It'll be a fun match, a great match to watch. They're both fantastic workers. But I think him losing and setting up for his next big feud where he could have a comeback win at SummerSlam or whatever, I think that would make more sense. So just get it over with. I mean, because there's really nothing better to do right now. I really don't want to see any more of the Adam Pearce. I don't want to see more Kevin Owens versus him. I maybe would have rather seen like a Jay kind of betrayal thing in Fastlane, maybe kind of building up to it. They kind of keep questions at WrestleMania about interference and things, but I don't know, man. I think if you're going to do a throwaway Daniel Bryan match where Daniel Bryan's obviously going to be the person taking the fall, why not do it at Fastlane? I'd rather see it there than on a big stage.
And I like a Jey Uso Daniel Bryan feud. So
yeah,
that could be a great WrestleMania match.
Sure.
You don't always need titles on the line. You just need two great wrestlers who know how to tell a story in the ring.
Some of the best matches in the history of WrestleMania had no titles on the line. I will never, like I said, it wasn't the best match, but just that first Kane versus Undertaker, there was no titles, and to me, still, that was one of the biggest feelings of matches I've ever had when I was a kid. So,
yep. And then Brett versus Owen, the kickoff match at WrestleMania 10. Jeremy Dorsett said to me, Reigns versus Bryan at Fastlane 2015. Wow, that many 6 years ago. Holy crap. Big G, what do you think here? I was kind of pulling for this match several months ago to be the WrestleMania feud, but then the Edge thing happened. And then Daniel Bryan just kept losing matches, which you knew then they weren't building him up.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I think it'll be fine at Fastlane. Like you said, it's been 6 years since they've had their last match at Fastlane, and they were both, young in their careers then still, and now they're pretty much at the peak of their careers. And we all know Roman Reigns is going to win and retain on Sunday if the match happens, which I'm sure it will, because Who else are you
Yeah,
gonna throw Roman Reigns with at Fastlane? 2 or 3 weeks before WrestleMania. It should be a good match, good storytelling. Roman is the heel. They'll play it out, drag it out a little bit throughout the match, and maybe eventually down the line after WrestleMania or whatever the next pay-per-view is, Extreme Rules or whatever, they'll go back to this feud between the two, or they can wait until SummerSlam and have Daniel Bryan win down the line. Other than that, we'll see.
Yes, we will. So thank you for your input, Big G. Over to Aaron, and I know he's got a super chat. I saw it pop up.
Yeah, we do have a super chat. I'll get to that in just a second. I agree with what Robbie Vice said. I think that this is the right time to do this match and just get it done. Who knows what the situation with Roman Reigns is going to be in 6 months, if he's even still going to be a heel. He might turn face again when crowds come back. Who knows? And when crowds do come back on a regular basis, WWE might decide to do John Cena versus Roman Reigns, or bring back Brock Lesnar to face Roman Reigns. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's a lot of other matches you can do with Reigns once the crowds return. And you could always revisit, too, with Daniel Bryan, give him a bit of a push. And like Robbie said, people will probably forget about this pay-per-view. I think it's fine to do it now. And I suspect Jimmy's going to interfere, and we're going to see the Usos versus Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. Owens is going to need something to do. He has beef with Jay. Jimmy's due back at any time. So to me, that's a natural match you can do. Ratnick said, will Bryan get screwed by somebody? Yeah, I think Jimmy Uso is going to come back. He's due back at any time now. Now let's go ahead and get to that super chat, which was from Psycho Jet Black. Thank you for that. He has a serious comment for once. He says, serious though, I cannot wait for the Fastlane match, but I'm still waiting for the promo where Bryan or Roman mentions the 2015 Royal Rumble.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, they could definitely do that, and we do have a few weeks left until Fastlane. We'll have to wait and see. I'm guessing if it happens, it'll be next week, not this week's SmackDown.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see them referencing that, and the fact that Bryan lost to Reigns at the 2015 Fastlane, and Bryan's going to do everything in his power to make sure that doesn't happen again. And that can be the selling point for the match, and really, really nail that hard and focus on that. I think the match will be really good, and they'll pull off something that's entertaining, even if the outcome is ultimately predictable.
Yeah, this is a filler feud that I don't mind, because I didn't ever expect it to be a filler feud. And I would like to see Jimmy Uso come back, and he has to join Jay with Roman. We need to build this family, the Samoan dynasty family, up on television. Yes. I mean, I know that's cliche with the NWO. I'm not talking that big, but even the original DX had 3 members. I'm not counting Rick Rude, so I'm not counting Paul Heyman. So I would like to see Jimmy Uso return and get involved with this for sure. Okay, WWE time. Robbie has been chomping at the bit, if that's the saying, I don't know, at this topic, because finally, after years and years, 15 plus years, Bobby Lashley, he's not the ECW crappy version champion. He's not the Global Force champion or the TNA champion. He is the WWE champion, the main title lineage in World Wrestling Entertainment. And Bobby Lashley is the heel champion going into WrestleMania. Huge deal. Now, I have some thoughts on this, but I want to hear everybody else's first. Robbie, I will start with you, so you can say whatever's on your mind about a man you have supported for quite some time. And just remember, not so long ago, a year and a half ago, the Lana stuff. And we know that was for clicks on YouTube, but look where he is now. Have at it.
Yeah, this is a long time coming. I mean, I've been saying since MVP came back to put the strap on Lashley. This Hurt Business has been, again, I say it every time we do this, is one of my favorite things on Raw, and it's probably one of the best things in wrestling right now. You have a believable champ. Obviously, The Miz was not a believable champ. He literally ran away and got DQ'd, which was pretty funny.
Over.
I mean,
when he did that, dude.
Right, but they did it. They made the right decision. This is the first monster champion we've had since Brock Lesnar, and I hope this leads to a one-on-one match with Lashley and Lesnar, because again, let's just go for it. I have everyone mad at me for my AEW comments earlier. I don't think Drew's the guy. I don't think he's at least on the level to be in the ring with Lesnar and Lashley at the same time. A match like that needs to be one-on-one. It needs to have stakes. It needs to feel WrestleMania big. And while Drew McIntyre is great, his promos are good, his look is great. He gives us all. Like he's a good champion. I think he needs a little bit of a character shift. I think he needs to change. I think he needs to stop being the dumb generic babyface. The people that were writing Roman's promos who are now writing stuff for Drew McIntyre, let him be himself. And I think losing again like he has and then not getting that title shot back, give him a chance to just rebuild and tweak that character just a little bit, because we haven't seen it change too much lately. But yeah, bottom line, man, Bobby Lashley, the Lash of Bob. Us Roberts have to stick together, but yeah, man, Bobby Lashley, MVP, Hurt Business. This is amazing, and I cannot wait. I hope it's a lengthy title reign, and I hope he holds it through WrestleMania and beyond.
And we're going to get several MVP promos out of this too. Obviously.
Oh hell yeah, we are.
I mean, that's why they're together. All right, Big G. I have some
one last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would not mind him showing his favorite pose one last time. You guys remember his favorite pose, just because.
Good. Right.
He could have the belt around it too. It'd be, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, that's all I got.
So, Big G, I have some thoughts here with this title reign, but I want to save it for the main event, which, Lashley will probably find his way into that discussion as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think on him, just as of the right now, not thinking ahead, being the WWE champion?
It's well-deserved. I think he's the third African-American to win the title. It was, I think, 17 years since – 17 years waiting to win the WWE title finally. And, I mean, you got to look back on when he first started in WWE. He was booked with Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, Umaga with the whole ECW thing. And that kind of – I thought that kind of crapped on his career. And then he came back in WWE. He did his thing. He had his thing with Sami Zayn and his three sisters and the whole thing with Lana. And I was like, this is how you're going to use Bobby Lashley? The man, like Robbie said, the man is a beast. Use him properly. And with the help of MVP last year, the man is finally WWE champion. And I mean, the whole Hurt Business, that's one of the things I love about Monday Night Raw, the Hurt Business. MVP can cut a good promo. Shelton Benjamin is actually doing something. Cedric's doing something. Lashley is finally WWE champion. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming months with Lashley as WWE champion.
Big G, it's WrestleMania season, and your two top champions are the top heels. And that was always kind of to me, heels going in, you always wanted to see that baby face chase and win the title back.
Well, see, that's
like
weird.
Hogan beat Savage, Hogan beat Slaughter. I mean, that era.
Hogan beat everybody.
I know Lashley's a heel, but when they piped in the crowd noise and you could see the baby faces, they were cheering for Lashley, to beat the Miz. So I don't know if that was like a one-off thing or I don't know. But like if you heard the piped in noise, you could hear like the crowd actually cheering.
So good for Bobby Lashley. Now I'm going to go over to Aaron Rift and get his thoughts on Bob the Lash as the WWE champ.
All right, we do have a few super chats here from the This Guy Experience. His first one says, Fastlane is a trash pay-per-view. Bring back Stomping Grounds. Why Stomping Grounds?
Could be called Roadblock. Remember they had that one year, it was like Roadblock.
Geez.
How about just not having a pay-per-view after Elimination Chamber before WrestleMania?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be okay to go like 6 weeks. It's not the end of the world.
They were smart. They would just do that big
do
takeover instead of doing a WWE main roster pay-per-view. They could have their big NXT one in that slot before WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. And This Guy Experience with another $2 super chat says, I really hope Bobby Lashley holds it for as long as Drew McIntyre. Well, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. I'd love to see Lashley get a lengthy reign, but my gut feeling is WrestleMania is going to make up for last year. Drew McIntyre got his big moment winning the title, but it was with no fans last year. And this year we're scheduled to have fans at WrestleMania, and this will be the makeup for last year where Drew McIntyre chasing the title, which is fine. You know, he's been champion for a long time, and you want to change things up and have him chase. Makes perfect sense. He wins back the title at WrestleMania and has the feel-good moment of winning the title with the actual fans in attendance. And the game is on 100, sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, excited for Lashley for WWE title win, but he is the number 2 title compared to the number 1 of the tribal chief Roman Reigns. Well, you're right about that. I will say this, it's the man that makes the title, and Roman Reigns, even though the Universal title is not as prestigious as the WWE title, the man makes the title. Roman Reigns having the Universal title makes the Universal title the number 1 title in WWE. Bottom line.
Look, I mean, we got Roman versus Edge. Who thought that 6 months ago? And Bobby Lashley, it appears to be, versus Drew McIntyre. And Aaron, I agree with you. I have 2 theories for WrestleMania and Bobby Lashley. I agree. So him winning it is just to give, Drew the opportunity to win it in front of some fans this year to make up for last year. So that means there's a countdown ticker on the reign, and I know Robbie doesn't want to hear that, and that doesn't mean it's going to happen. But I do have a second theory, and it's going to tie into when we get to our main event. But yeah, I mean, I like where all the titles are right now. I think I tweeted this. You have Sasha Banks and Asuka as your women's champions. You have Big E and Matt Riddle, and I know Robbie doesn't want to hear that, but I mean that's mid-card, Robbie, right? Just
I mean, I don't care about Matt Riddle. It's whatever.
As the mid-card champions, and Matt Riddle acknowledging my Mr. Hand conversation. That means he does listen to the NoDQ review, so he probably sees at some point all of Robbie's criticism. So that is great. So I'm interested to see if he implements any change going forward, or just really double downs on that to stick it to the people, the haters, but we'll see. And then, of course, your main champions, Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley. So I feel, it's WrestleMania season. Notice I don't mention tag titles because I just don't feel they're important anymore. I know that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are the women's tag champs, correct, Big G?
Yes, correct.
I don't even know who are the men's tag team champions.
You got Shelton and Cedric.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then Robert Roode
the other
and Ziggler.
Roode and Ziggler are still
Roode and Ziggler, yes, they are.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Sweet.
they beat the Street Profits a month
Well,
ago.
good for the Hurt business, all that gold. So here's an impromptu topic because I'm looking at the clock. We got some time to burn here before the main event. What does everyone think about Apollo Crews' new direction? Because we don't really talk about Apollo Crews much because they've never done much with him. But Big G, I'm going to come over to you. I mean, is this going to work?
I mean, it'll work for now, but within 6 months, it'll fizzle out. No, 3 months, it'll fizzle out.
Do you think could he join Roman's empire? I mean, could we really? I don't think it'll get beyond like the family.
A couple months ago, he did talk to Roman a couple months ago, like that backstage promo.
A dog.
I think that would be good for him.
It's awful.
I think it would be good for him, but honestly,
it's a Matt Riddle match.
I would give it 3 months.
But you said Matt Riddle does good matches, so you don't like the character, the flip flops. Okay,
I know.
But
I had to make a comment.
So are you buying? I mean, would you be happy to see an Apollo Crews match when house shows or WWE Live starts again with this direction, Big G, or would it be a bathroom break?
I wouldn't mind.
He's always been a good wrestler.
He's very athletic. Don't get me wrong, but the booking of him, I think Power Packers, 3 weeks push. I'm giving it 3 months.
Is he going to be in an Intercontinental title feud with Big E, or is he already in? Like what?
Yeah, he's still feuding with Big E, and I think they'll have one more match at WrestleMania. Big E versus Apollo Crews.
And we had to get Big G's take first, so I didn't agree. Aaron, Robbie, either one of you want to chime in on Apollo Crews? I remember seeing this guy in the Indies, and he was always impressive, great shape. he's just one of those, came up from NXT and he's just kind of floundered because no character development. Maybe this, again, it seems like heel work at least gets people somewhat interested. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you guys think? Anything to add, or is it time for the main event?
Let's see what he does. Give him. I think at this point he's someone that could benefit from going to AEW because he'll actually get some time to shine and maybe be himself a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think they're at the point now that they need to do something with him, put him in NXT or release him. And at this point, I would just let him do his thing. If he wants to be a heel, give him a little bit more wiggle room to do what he wants and see what he does with it. Because the stuff they've been writing for him hasn't been great. He's been pretty generic. He's been on like Ricochet levels of character development. So I think anything that they do with him, I mean, he's Ricochet levels of development. So yeah, let him do his thing and see what he does with it. And if not, put him in NXT or let him go somewhere else to hone his craft and get more experience.
Yep.
It did wonders for Drew McIntyre.
Aaron, any super chats?
We do have one, but it's not on this topic. I'll say this. I think Apollo Crews has a lot of potential as a heel. I did enjoy it. The promo that he did on SmackDown. I like the new attire. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, don't have Apollo do the accent all the time. I didn't even notice it until people were bringing it up on social media. Like I didn't even catch it. So
I didn't either.
I had no problem with it. And I remember Booker T doing the over-the-top accent when he was King Booker. And I enjoyed that. I say let him do the over-the-top accent just to piss people off. That's what good heels do. I say, go big or go home.
Well, he's from
with
Uganda, so why don't he should just, do an accent from Uganda and be good to go.
Yeah, so time will tell, but so far, so good. And we do have a super chat here from the This Guy Experience. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. He says, if Bobby Lashley loses the title fast, then I hope he gets it at least once more. I don't want him to become another Kofi, Mark Henry, Chris Benoit, Booker T, all being a one-time champion. I agree with you. I hope Bobby Lashley will continue to be in the main event scene even when he does lose the title. WWE has done such a good job building him up, and hopefully he'll have at least a few good years. I mean, he is getting up there. He's, 44 years old now, somewhere in that
Something
area?
like that, yeah.
And he's not going to have a lot of time on top, but I'm hopeful maybe another 2 or 3 years he'll continue to be a solid top-tier guy in WWE.
Well, now it's time. Sorry, Apollo Crews, you were the buffer to the main event, but here we go. It's WrestleMania season.
It's like real life.
And we have to pose the question. We have Roman and Edge at WrestleMania, but we don't have John Cena. We don't have The Undertaker. Do we need Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? He's been gone back in Canada, the pandemic restrictions, obviously. We have not seen him since last year. But we have McIntyre and Lashley. It looks to be for the WWE title. Could this be a triple threat? I know Robbie really wanted to see Brock and Roman, but let's be honest. I think it would be. I think the Tampa crowd deserves Brock Lesnar there. I mean, I know there's going to be 25,000 a night, but if they can figure out a way to bring him over here, quarantine him for 2 weeks, whatever they have to do to bring him over from Canada, I think he should be there. But are we going to get it? I think it needs it. I think WrestleMania needs Brock Lesnar. Robbie Vice.
Yeah. I think WrestleMania needs Brock Lesnar. I think WrestleMania does not need Drew McIntyre. Again, I want this to be a one-on-one match. Drew McIntyre could be at WrestleMania, have him standing sideways watching the Brock Lesnar-Bobby Lashley match and then nodding or shaking his head in disapproval. Yeah, dude, look, WrestleMania, you need bigger than life stars, and we have some people there, but we're missing those marquee top stars. Like you said, we no longer have The Undertaker. We no longer have John Cena this year.
Mm-hmm.
The next big star that they have outside of Shane McMahon inserting himself into whatever he's going to be doing this year is going to be Brock Lesnar. So I think it's a failure if they cannot figure out a way to bring Brock Lesnar in this year, especially because the fans have wanted to see Lesnar versus Lashley for so long now. and having it be at WrestleMania, having it be for the WWE title, they have a real big chance if they let Lashley go over Lesnar to just establish him further as that guy. And then they could use him down the road to put someone else over, maybe at SummerSlam, like a Keith Lee or one of these young guys, that they're bringing up. But yes, Brock Lesnar needs to be at WrestleMania. There's no question about it.
Yeah, and I agree. And my other theory is if they can get Brock, that'll be a triple threat for the WWE title, because remember, we haven't seen him since he lost the title to Drew, so why would he not want to come back and try to get revenge or win it back? And I know there's the whole Roman thing and over there, but clearly with Edge being over there, Roman is now occupied. So that's what I would like to see. What would happen? I think Lesnar would have a good shot to win the title if they brought him back and carry it into SummerSlam at least, and or maybe carry it until they finally have full normal crowds, and then Brock can put it over and get somebody elevated, or have Drew beat him in front of a crowd at SummerSlam. But Big G, what do you think here? I mean, it's WrestleMania season, and you usually have multiple stars.
Yeah.
And this one, and I'm a big Roman supporter, but I mean, let's face it, you've always had, like Robbie and I have mentioned, Undertaker, John Cena, Triple H. I mean,
you need
what are we doing here? Goldberg. I hate saying it. But
You do need those big names at WrestleMania. It's the biggest show of the year. You need to pull out all the stops. You have do whatever you have to do to get Lesnar back into the United States. Like you mentioned, quarantine him afterwards. Do whatever you need to do. But honestly, I don't think Brock wants to. I think he's enjoying the time off, spending time with his family. He's got so much money. I don't even think he needs it.
But you got to think how millionaires think. You make money.
Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. He can always have another pile of money.
I mean, there is a good chance he will come back at WrestleMania, and I would love to see Lesnar versus Lashley. And if it's a triple threat match with the two of them and McIntyre, I'll be okay with as well. But it all depends on how much Vince is willing to pay Brock Lesnar. And it also depends on if Brock Lesnar wants to come back, especially during the pandemic still going on.
Yeah. Vince has a blank check for Lesnar.
And things are opening up more too. So, there could be, we don't know what Canada's going to do in the next few weeks. They could let travel for, I know the athletes and stuff for like the sports teams can't travel over. But with that said, the Canadian players, how are they getting over here if they're going to stay in the United States? There's ways, there's loopholes to get people over here. So don't just think because normal people just can't go across the border that easily. Doesn't mean a celebrity can't. So, Aaron, what do you think here with Brock and WrestleMania?
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, imagine Lesnar cutting his own promos. No Paul Heyman. Yeah, that could be rough, but you really don't need him to talk all that much, in my opinion. I think him just coming out there and looking intimidating, that says a lot by itself. And you could have Heyman pull double duty. I think Brock Lesnar would definitely enhance the match at WrestleMania for the WWE title. And I think you could potentially do a triple threat match, and I would be very interested to see how that would play out. That would be a really interesting match. I'm fine with Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. We have seen it before. We saw it last year at, Backlash, one of those pay-per-views around that time. Yeah. But WWE, I guess, is trying to act like that never happened now. I think that Brock Lesnar would be better off coming back with a full crowd rather than the 25% capacity or 50% capacity, whatever they end up doing. But I do think at the same time, there's the saying, you need to strike the iron when it's hot. Bobby Lashley is red hot right now as champion. If you're ever going to do Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley in some capacity, whether it's a singles match or a triple threat match, you got to do it. You got to do it when it's hot. And right now, Bobby Lashley is hotter than he's ever been, and might be the time to pull the trigger. Could WWE pull some strings and get Brock into the United States? Probably. I think they could pull it off. So we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I certainly would not rule it out. My feeling is it's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley one-on-one, but I would not be shocked if Brock Lesnar did show up.
And Aaron and I are still holding out hope for Goldberg versus Riddle. So I know Robbie doesn't care, but
I'm all for it.
So there you have it. There you have it. What do you think, NoDQ Galaxy, for WrestleMania? Brock Lesnar? I think so. But again, if he's not there, he'll be back down the road at some point, probably when the pandemic concerns are all over and behind us 100%. So, Aaron, any other super chats? We know this is the part of the show that drags on. Robbie's got to get out of here in a few minutes. So I'll start with Big G. Let's do our plugs. Let's do the close, and maybe we can get done in 45 minutes. That's how I love 45 to 50-minute length shows. This hour stuff, no. So go ahead, close it, Rob.
So
Robbie, we'll go Big G first.
NoDQ.com/BigBallerG60. It's my Twitter page, and on there is the link to my YouTube channel, which you can follow me on and subscribe, and check out the Gridiron Grapple every Tuesday.
And thank you for being on, Big G. Always a pleasure. I know you're happy to be here, and it makes me happy that you're happy to be here. All right, to Robbie Vice.
Yeah, guys, give me a follow at the Robbie Vice on Twitter. Try to pump me up, man. I was going for my 300 followers, and I lost about 17 to 20 because I made the comment that NXT moving has nothing to do with the Wednesday Night Wars, and I was flamed by AEW fanboys. And they were.
But that's true.
Right. Well, yeah, they were going pretty rough on me. So, it should be a follow, guys. Let's talk about wrestling. And yeah, great show. And if you guys have any questions, you guys can tweet them at me. And I'm looking forward to any interactions in the YouTube channel, comments, and or Twitter.
Thank you, Robbie Vice. And now, as soon as I get to Aaron, I see a super chat pop up. Of course.
It always happens. So we're into our overtime, our no DQ review after dark. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, your favorite Jeff Jarrett matches and moments. Okay, I got one. I actually do have one. I know there are some good Jeff Jarrett matches out there. He had a really good ladder match with Chris Benoit at the 1999 Starrcade pay-per-view. That one stands out to me. And the match he had with Shawn Michaels when Shawn won the Intercontinental title, that one was pretty good too. So I have those two. And as far as his favorite moment, probably the storyline with China, the Good Housekeeping match. That was fun too. I enjoyed that. And Jarrett beating up all the women, beating up Fabulous Moolah and whatnot. Like that stuff was good when Jarrett was just hitting everybody with a guitar. Didn't draw a dime, but had some entertaining moments.
I loved when he put Booker T over at Bash at the Beach 2000.
There you go.
Somebody had to do it.
That was a good moment.
Yeah,
Booker T.
I really enjoyed it when he was trying to join the Four Horsemen. He would always get in there and do his strut and flair, and them hated him. That was when he was wearing his that white like shredded top thing he was wearing for a while with his long curly blonde hair in 1996, 97.
Oh, I got another
country
moment.
music star.
Yep.
How about when he came back to WWE in 97 and cut this worked shoot promo, and he actually used a racist term towards Ahmed Johnson when he was talking about his past opponents. Like, imagine that promo today. That would not go over too well.
Yeah.
He talked about like how Ahmed Johnson could barely speak the English language. That was crazy.
And he had like that weird when he started wrestling. I think that's when they were doing that NWA gimmick also during the early Attitude Era. He was wearing that weird gear with like the Aztec designs on it. But interesting.
And I agree.
Any thoughts on Jeff Jarrett, Big G?
Not really, no.
Wow, nothing about Jeff Jarrett.
He agrees with all of ours.
What about Impact?
He liked when he hit the guy from the Howard Stern show, that Beetlejuice or whatever, with the guitar right in the back.
I remember that.
I don't know. We were talking about Jeff Jarrett. Crazy. Any other super chats?
Right?
We got to close this show. It's time.
All right. So thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. And yeah, follow NoDQ.com for the latest. And this weekend, we got the Revolution pay-per-view, not Evolution, as Paul White said on Dynamite.
Yeah, he said Evolution.
Yeah. Revolution. We got that coming up, and I will be doing the live play-by-play coverage. And midnight or whatever it is, I will be doing the live recap afterwards. So tune in for me and check it out. Thank you guys again for supporting us. Make sure you follow everybody. Follow Robbie. He's a great guy, and help him make up for losing those followers that had a problem with his comment about NXT and AEW.
And it wasn't even inflammatory. I say way worse things than that, and I don't lose followers.
Right.
People are crazy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, NoDQ Galaxy. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_virtue. Go to my Facebook page, NoDQ.com/virtue, and I will try to entertain you there throughout the week. At some point, Virtue's Rage columns will be coming back. I got a couple in the can. I just want to post them when the news is relevant, the topic is relevant. But that's it. This has been the NoDQ review number 130. For Robbie Vice, for Big G, who's just happy to be here, and for the boss man, Aaron Riff, I am Virtue. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.